establishment has basically been telling seniors to, slow down and take it easy. But what if the things that actually keep you vibrant aren't these crazy expensive supplements, but just simple daily actions you might have accidentally stopped doing? Stick around because the number one most powerful habit on our list today is actually something cardiologists rarely even discuss.
Okay, so there is this massive flaw in modern medicine. We are completely obsessed with managing disease rather than actually creating health. Think about it. Managing disease is mostly just suppressing symptoms with medication, right? You take a pill to lower your blood pressure, but it doesn't really fix the root cause. Creating health, on the other hand, is all about optimizing your daily function and building up what experts call your fitness reserve. Dr. Deborah Cardo, who's a geriatrician at Stanford, advocates for this beautifully. She isn't just focused on health span as, surviving. She focuses on healthy longevity. We want the actual capacity to thrive, not just exist. Now, we are living longer than ever before. A baby born today might easily see 80 or even 100 years old. But for all our amazing medical advances, there's a really tragic gap, and it's represented by this one number, 64. The World Health Organization states that the average health span in the U.S. is only 64 years. That means the average person is spending roughly 15 years in poor health. To put that into perspective, that is a massive chunk of time, 15 whole years of lost independence.
But hey, it absolutely doesn't have to be this way. In fact, an incredible 61% of that functional decline can be prevented. This is just a staggering statistic from a landmark study published by the Stanford Center on Longevity, where they followed over 4,200 adults for 12 years. And what they found was that seniors who maintained just 4 or more of the specific daily habits we're about to cover were 61% less likely to experience accelerated functional decline. Honestly, that is the difference between living life on your own terms and living on someone else's schedule.
All right, let's kick off our countdown. Habit number 6, strategic hydration.
So, why does strategic hydration actually matter? Well, after you hit age 70, your kidneys lose about 40% of their filtering efficiency, and your natural thirst signals, they practically go on vacation. You can literally be chronically dehydrated and not even know it. And since your brain is roughly 75% water, even a tiny 2% drop in hydration causes measurable cognitive impairment. For an aging brain, that effect is totally amplified because it's already working harder just to maintain baseline function. So, the strategic habit here, drink 12 to 16 ounces of water right when you wake up, before your coffee, and add a pinch of high-quality sea salt or electrolytes. Without that sodium, your aging kidneys will just let the water pass right through without actually hydrating your cells.
Moving right along to habit number 5, build your physical armor.
Now, to protect against the number one cause of injury-related death in adults over 60, which is trips and falls, you need resistance-based movement to build up a literal physical suit of armor. You see, you are constantly fighting against something called anabolic resistance. As we age, our muscle cells actually develop a reduced ability to respond to exercise and protein. Your muscles aren't just getting lazy, they're biologically harder to reach. A 75-year-old needs far more intentional effort to maintain the exact same muscle mass that a 50-year-old keeps with half the work. Casual walking just isn't enough anymore. You really must stimulate the mitochondria, the power plants in your muscle cells, through resistance. So here is your highly actionable routine. You want to aim for 2 to 3 sessions a week, just 20 to 30 minutes. Focus entirely on the large muscle groups that actually keep you upright, like your legs, hips, and back. Dr. Cardo's research at Stanford highlights a super fascinating nuance here. While strength is great, power is actually the most predictive metric for preventing fractures. Power is your ability to exert force quickly, like, say, catching yourself right when you stumble. So incorporating progressive resistance is absolutely key to keeping that vital power alive.
And hey, if you think it's too late to start, consider this totally mind-blowing number, 174%. Dr. Cardo shared a study from the Journal of the American Medical Association where researchers took frail nursing home residents, people averaging 90 years old, and put them on a resistance program 3 times a week for 12 weeks. When they did CT scans, their thigh muscle had increased by a massive 174%. They were walking faster and climbing stairs they previously couldn't even manage. It is quite literally never too late to build your armor.
All right, let's move on to habit 4, master your sleep schedule. Because we lose up to 80% of our restorative deep sleep and produce about 70% less melatonin as we age, we basically have to manually reset our broken circadian clock. Dr. Berg lays out this absolutely fantastic daily protocol for this. Let's look at it. At 8 a.m., you want to get 20 minutes of actual sunlight in your eyes to really wake up your system. Then, at 8 p.m., throw on some blue light blocking glasses if you're looking at screens, because mental stimulation really delays sleep onset. By 9 p.m., practice 10 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing. This can lower your cortisol by up to 22%, which shifts you right into that crucial rest and repair mode.
When it finally comes time for bed, consistency is everything. Try to go to sleep within the exact same 30-minute window every single night. Keep the room remarkably cool, somewhere between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Your body actually needs that temperature drop to trigger deep sleep. Stop all the screens an hour before. And finally, Dr. Berg highly recommends taking magnesium glycinate an hour before bed to calm your muscles. This matters immensely, folks, because disrupted sleep in seniors is linked to a 68% higher accumulation of amyloid plaques in the brain, and those are the exact plaques associated with Alzheimer's.
Next up on the list, habit 3, distributed protein.
We need to clear up a really dangerous myth right now. Society constantly tells seniors they need less protein as they age. Actually, scratch that, it's the exact opposite. Because of that anabolic resistance we talked about, you actually need 50 to 75% more protein just to maintain your current muscle. But here's the catch. Aging muscles can only process about 35 to 40 grams in a single sitting. You can't just eat a massive steak at dinner and eat barely anything all day. You're just wasting the protein. You absolutely have to spread it out. Aim for 25 to 35 grams at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And take a look at those synergy tips. A post-meal walk after lunch acts like free metformin, massively improving your insulin sensitivity. And adding some vitamin C at dinner, that helps synthesize your protein right into collagen to protect your joints.
Dr. Lee offers this really vivid analogy that I just love. Think of protein as the bricks that your body uses to rebuild itself every single night while you're asleep. All day, your body breaks down damaged tissue and then tries to replace it at night. But if you haven't eaten enough protein, well, you just don't have enough bricks. The reconstruction is left incomplete. Over months and years, that tiny little structural deficit becomes totally catastrophic, eventually leading to frailty and a total loss of independence.
All right, moving on to habit 2, engage your social brain.
Listen, this isn't just some feel-good kumbaya advice. This is hard science. Meaningful social interaction is actually some of the most replicable science in modern gerontology. When you stop engaging with others, the actual neural pathways responsible for memory, decision-making, and your core sense of self literally begin to prune and wither away. I mean, let this staggering fact sink in. Social isolation carries a mortality risk equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes per day. The National Institute on Aging found that loneliness accelerates cognitive decline by up to 64%. And no, passive screen time absolutely does not count. You need active, genuine human engagement.
So why is loneliness literally so deadly? Well, because genuine interaction is a biological necessity. It triggers the release of oxytocin in your brain. This powerful hormone naturally suppresses your stress hormone, cortisol, and it noticeably reduces systemic inflammation throughout your body. Both Dr. Berg and Dr. Lee emphasize that this engaged human connection acts as literal fertilizer for your brain cells. It promotes brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is what keeps your neural network dense, healthy, and highly active.
Okay, drum roll please. We have made it to the top. Habit 1, the ultimate longevity secret.
Believe it or not, fewer than 12% of adults over 75 actually maintain this habit. Yet researchers call it the absolute most underutilized longevity intervention available without a prescription. And no, spoiler alert, it is not just doing the Sunday crossword puzzle. You see, as the brain gets older, it really starts to crave familiar efficiency. It basically wants to be lazy. It wants to conserve metabolic energy by only doing things it already knows exactly how to do. You have to actively fight that urge with what we call productive discomfort. This is the deliberate act of learning a completely novel skill, like a new language, maybe a musical instrument, or even oil painting. Dr. Berg likens this to hormetic stress for the brain. The struggle, the actual frustration of learning something completely foreign to you is exactly where the neurological benefit lives.
By leaning into that productive discomfort, you're building up what researchers call your cognitive reserve. Think of it kind of like your brain's computer RAM. The more reserve you have built up, the more age-related damage your brain can absorb before you ever even show a single symptom of cognitive decline. Studies show that spending just 20 to 30 minutes a day actively learning a complex new skill can actually delay the onset of dementia by nearly 5 years. It is quite literally the cognitive equivalent of lifting heavy weights, and it is absolutely vital for maintaining your independence.
I absolutely love this perspective from Dr. Cardo at Stanford. She says, even if you're late to the party, you can still have a good time. You know, it really doesn't matter if you are 60, 75, or 85 years old today. Your body and your mind retain an incredibly stubborn capacity for resilience. These 6 habits aren't about trying to magically turn back the clock. They are about making the absolute most extraordinary use of the time that the clock still has. Trust me, it is never, ever too late to begin.
So, I'm going to leave you with one final provocative question to think about. Which of these 6 habits will you start building today to create your own personal armor of independence? Are you going to optimize your morning hydration, start some resistance training, maybe finally master your sleep, distribute your protein better, call up an old friend, or dive headfirst into a brand new skill? The science is incredibly clear, the blueprint is right here in front of you, and the choice is entirely yours. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay curious and please take some action today.